Every community has rules of etiquette. Bikers are no different. And even though rules may slightly vary depending on the group or club, you can guarantee some rules apply everywhere at all times. Like the number one rule, don't touch another rider's bike. And of course you can add to that, don't ask to ride it either. In that regard, bikes are treated the same way as wives and girlfriends. It's rare to see bikers swap bikes for all kinds of reasons. Most bikers are very certain their bike is the best bike ever. So showing interest in riding something else would weaken the proposition that mine is best. Some may show interest in something else as a novelty, a fun diversion for a few minutes, but usually just for curiosity, to gather details, or to verify in their eyes why, once again, their bike is best, at least best for them. Some bikes are so different from each other that naturally there might be a curiosity about how the exotic other thing rides. But what's even rarer is when two bikes have a lot in common, but one can't help but wonder how much the differences show up on a ride. That's the case when comparing the RT and RS, BMW's flagship travel tour and sports tourer. It's easy to say the differences are obvious, but from top to bottom the RT is designed as a premier touring machine, whereas the RS likes to tour but won't give up its sporty profile. A friend of mine has an RT. I've got the RS. We were in the middle of a 300-mile ride one day and decided after lunch to swap bikes for a while for fun. He used to have nothing but sport bikes. He loved their speed and agility. But over time he got into a lot of trouble with them too. He simply couldn't resist turning every road into the Isle of Man TT. He decided to settle down with a full-featured touring machine as a way to stay on the bike rather than wind up in jail or dead. The only catch is, I've ridden with him and can testify, he often rides his RT like it's an M1000RR. I was simply interested in knowing how much difference a full touring bike makes when you've got a lot of road ahead of you. So when we came across a good turnoff, we did the swap. He could take the sports lead and not be held back by my touring experience. Getting on the RT, I could feel three things right away: weight, center of gravity, and comfort. The RT's weight is 615 pounds. The RS's weight is 536, making the RT 79 pounds heavier. But both bikes have the same 1254cc boxer engine mounted low. Usually that creates a low center of gravity, making the RS feel supremely planted and solid. The RT still feels solid, but the weight of all of that extra fairing gizmos and motorized windscreen raises the center of gravity a bit. The RT feels a bit tippier than the RS for that reason. Not much, but it's noticeable. I also notice the comfort. The RT's seat is more comfortable than the RS's sport seat. It's wider and has more cushion to it. One other thing I noticed right away. On the RS with minimal fairing, I get a good view of and sense of the road close to the front of the bike. On the RT, much of that road view is blocked by the extended fairing, feature controls, and 10.25-inch color TFT instrument cluster. This is a change I could adjust to, but at first it felt more disconnected from the road, and sitting behind the large windscreen, it gave me the feeling of looking past the dashboard of a car through a windshield instead of looking over it like I do on the RS. On the RT, I felt more like I was sitting in something rather than on something. My chin-mounted GoPro camera is a good visual reference point. On the RS, the camera sees over the windscreen, but on the RT, my video has a view through the middle of the windscreen. That shows you how much larger the RT screen really is. This gives great wind protection, so much so that once again, I felt like I was sitting inside a vehicle looking out, not sitting on top of one. On the RT, I sat in a wind-free pocket. The boxer engine and the extended fairing blocked all wind on the sides of my body. I'm 6'2" and didn't feel any buffeting on my helmet at all. I could see right away how on long rides, on touring rides, this would be great and cut down a lot on fatigue as the miles and hours rolled by. I didn't play with the controls that much since most of them duplicate the controls of the RS exactly. The button to raise or lower the windscreen was super easy to access. I really liked the 4 programmable option buttons on the left side of the fairing. Reach down just below the clutch and press a button. Controls for your favorites at your fingertips. My friend had button number 4 set to turn on the music system. I've heard him play this system before on the road. It puts out good quality sound and loud if you want. It would take me a while to get used to the mirrors though, which are set down low and built into the fairing. This is so unlike the RS that has mirrors that hang so far out front that many can't even reach them while riding. When your eye is used to glancing in one place to get a view behind you, it would take a while to retrain reflexes to look somewhere else. But this is a minor issue. As we rode along, our pace got quicker. I could sense how my friend was anticipating the right place to cut loose with the RS. He's ridden this road so many times, has it memorized, that I thought I knew the place where I'd see him take off. He likes 2 things, speed and curves. When conditions were right, he would disappear. That's great, but my experience on the RT was touring, not MotoGP. As he revved higher, I did the same. We have the same engine. Despite the RT's extra weight, I could still feel the torque of the boxer wanting to be unleashed. It seemed effortless to pull the RT up and around anything, and to accelerate without lagging or hesitation. To me, the RT felt like steering a powerful speedboat, whereas the RS feels like riding an arrow in flight. Both bikes have 136 horsepower, can go 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, with a top speed of about 145 miles per hour. For suspension, the RT has a telelever central spring strut, where the RS has a conventional upside-down telescopic fork. The RT's ride felt like the soft bounce of an easy chair, compared to the RS's locked in the saddle firmness. Once my friend took off, as expected, he disappeared. No doubt he had some windburn from the acceleration he enjoyed. But I couldn't let him get too far ahead. Even tours go faster sometimes. At higher speeds, the RT was a smooth glide. The only thing I had to deal with was the high crosswinds. All that extra fairing and windshield turns into a sail, and the wind likes to blow it around. It wasn't major, but more to deal with than the RS. I'm kidding, of course, when I say I caught up with my friend. Obviously, he slowed down after doing a good run of speed. I can see how it would be an easy transition to go back and forth between the 2 bikes. In the best of all worlds, I'd have both of them in my garage and choose which one to take, depending on the type of trip I was doing that day. In general, for the farthest destinations, especially if interstate highways were involved, take the RT. Day trips, running mountain or back roads, take the RS. I'm not limiting either bike. Actually, both can do both, but some things just fit better that way. I've seen the RT zip through hairpin after hairpin curve in the mountains, and I've taken the RS on the interstate for a 100-mile run. But for longer rides, why not go with the RT and have less weight on the hands, better wind protection, and more storage capacity? There are also more comforts and features like multiple powerlet sockets, USB connections, a stereo sound system, a glove compartment, seat heater, and adaptive cruise control with radar sensor. Both bikes have heated grips, cruise control, ride modes, hill start control, ABS, dynamic traction control, electronic suspension adjustment, a keyless ride, tire pressure monitor system, a center stand. One item the RT has that I wish the RS had is a 6.6 gallon fuel tank. The RS manages with a 4.7 gallon tank, which gives it a range usually of about 230 miles if you don't ride crazy. As you might expect, the RT with more features comes with a bigger price tag. The base model is about $20,000.
Get it with extras, $27,000. That's a lot, but you're getting a top-of-the-line tourer, and it rides like one. On the sports side, the RS base model runs about $16,000. Get it with extras and you'll pay the same as the RT base model, $20,000. If I could only have one of them, which one would I have? That's an unfair question. I know if I had the RT, I would quickly adjust to the minor issues mentioned in this video. That would make the features and comfort shine even more. And yet, I've had the RS for almost a year, and it's a terrific bike. It fits like a glove. It's so easy to blend with, like an extension of oneself. It connects to the road in a way only a sports bike can. BMW did both bikes well. The RT is a grand tourer that a sports bike rider can still zip around on. And the RS is a sports bike that a road tourer can still take on trips. Neither pretends to do it all, but they're not designed for all. They're designed for something specific, and yet they have enough of each other to feel the crossover. Another bike in this family is the R1250R, the naked version of the same 1254cc Boxer. That bike is totally stripped down. I did a test ride on the R1250R. It works well for those who prefer naked bikes. For me, it was too basic. It's a solid foundation upon which BMW built the other two, those being the completion of different dreams. The time eventually came to swap back. The best way to know if the RT is good is how I felt about leaving it. It felt comfortable to be back on the bike I knew best, but now I had a new favorite. My devotion is split. The RS is definitely my pick for sports tourer, and now my favorite for grand tourer is the RT. How can I not like both? Great engineering speaks for itself and pulls you in before it pulls you along for fantastic rides. My friend was showing a good smile when he got off the RS. For him, it was a time machine taking him back to a younger time when finding the top end of sports bikes was an addiction to a zone of peak performance that got him in trouble. It was a thrill to enjoy it again for a quick run down the country road, but the RT is where he's at now in this time and space. The RS did have two negatives for him, the harder seat, and how many bugs his face shield collected. As we rode off, I could tell he was riding his RT a little more like a sports bike, and I was riding the Aero of the RS, but noticing some creature comforts were missing. Two bikes with the same engine, and yet the experience with them is not the same. Will we ever swap bikes again? Could be. Or maybe our curiosity has been satisfied. Time will tell. Or maybe I'll find a load of cash and keep both of them in my garage, gassed up, ready to go. It's true that motorcycle etiquette says don't touch another's bike, and especially don't ask to ride it. But like everything else, there's more to it when friends get together. If two bikers feel comfortable enough to swap bikes, whole new layers of fun and exploration open up.